Hey, episode 1, Wolfe Untamed. We got Scott Parker in the house, man. Legendary Avalanche enforcer. Great to have you, brother. Outdoorsman. You got a lot of cool stuff going on right now, so let's talk about some of that. Like, what do you got going on now?
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me on, brother. For
Of course.
first of many, and we're excited you guys are getting this off the ground. So, basically, what was the question again?
What do you got going on now? Like, what are you doing now, post-retirement? You know, you've been retired for a while now, but, you know, last time we got to talk was 2015, so.
True. Yeah.
So what do you got going on? What has been going on in your life in between then?
Recently, just my family and I, DJ, Cheska, and I started a new company, Taboo Social Club, and it's a hemp company, CBD. It's kind of a lifestyle brand. This is the kind of way we're trying to go. So really, just you feel good, you do better, and hopefully it rubs off on people. So just doing Taboo these days, and still have our nonprofit Parker's Platoon. We help veterans transition and just show them a good time, go snowmobiling, go hiking, go fishing, and just show them everything they work so hard for. So
Give them some purpose, something to look forward to, right?
yeah, well, just doing that, as well as just really getting to enjoy everything they fought so hard for. Because when they get home, a lot of them just get stuck into going to the VA or just getting stuck in their house and not having a lot of outdoor experience, because the city and the life has changed a lot.
Yeah.
In the urban areas down here. So to get them out in the woods and just getting them reconnected, and it's amazing to see them in the now than where they were 5 years ago, and just being able to maybe not put it behind them, but kind of move on a bit too. So
Just kind of move forward, right?
exactly, put tools in their toolboxes to be successful in the world after they're done in the military world.
Yeah,
So,
man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's talk more about Taboo,
heck yeah, bro.
because this is badass. You brought me this awesome Pelican case with all the sweet gear in it, man. I really
brother.
appreciate that.
Oh, that's noisy, eh?
No, it's all right.
No, but yeah, it's just good products that we've been at it for many years now, trying to get the right ingredients, the right people, building the right team, and I think we found it. So that's why we're releasing this in 2023 here, and really just trying to get it in front of people so they feel better. And we're mixing a lot of herbs with our CBD or CBDA or CBG. So we have a lot of different cannabinoids. We have a lot of different herbs that can help out. And with our girl Lauren, she's the herbalist. So we have a good team built to where we can stay in house and we can really build this company.
Where are you guys putting it all together at? Where's do you have a warehouse somewhere here in Denver?
Well, we're based
Colorado?
based up in Grand Lake. But
Okay.
We have 3 different farms we deal with in Colorado here. So just trying to help the mom and pop farms and doing stuff like that, and just kind of staying small but genuine, basically.
Yeah.
And just growing little by little, and really just trying to get the products in front of people so they can feel better.
And
So,
this probably works really well, like integrating into your charity, right?
Definitely.
Your nonprofit. It probably works really well with the vets.
well, having the tinctures we have, and just having the anti-inflammatories, because basically everything we put in our bodies these days inflames us, and just kind of feeling like crap. So if we
Yeah.
can feel better, you do more, and you just feel more fulfilled. So looking at things like that compared to COVID time didn't really help, because everybody kind of got a little complacent and I won't do that today. But just being more active and getting outdoors and
Yeah.
just grounding yourself, just being with Mother Nature and doing good things.
I love that you said that about grounding yourself, because that's why I love being out there so much, and like just being in the backcountry out there where you feel small.
Well, that, and like it's just amazing how like your senses kick in, like your hearing and your senses and like your smell and everything else, and like you're almost like a wild animal. Where when you get into that scenario where you have to be switched on, because you may have a cat 12 feet up in a tree, and if you're not aware, it may jump on your back. Like
Yeah.
there's certain things out there. I mean, you're not the total apex predator in that scenario, because bears and mountain lions and everything else. I mean, it could be a fight.
They're
So,
predators, man.
Exactly.
They are predators.
Yeah, and especially if they're protecting young or a kill or something like that, they can be territorial as well, and you may not know that, and shit breaks bad, and you're like, uh-oh. But if you're more aware and you're making noise and your surroundings, you're a lot better off than just doodling through the woods and being like, hey, this is fun, and yeah, we'll see you next lifetime.
Yeah, it's like where I killed that mountain lion. It was right there in a lot of public land, a lot of hiking trails in that area. I mean, you just go down the road a little bit for like a quarter mile, and there's just hiking trails all through there.
Yeah.
And that's nothing for a mountain lion to travel a quarter. I mean, they'll travel 10, 15 miles like it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
So for me, if there's a 200-pound lion walking around, I mean, once he gets a little old and it's harder to catch those deer and it's harder to, they start coming for dogs. They start coming for, small children. They start coming for people. And honestly, after holding that lion, I was like, this thing could have killed me. No problem.
Yeah.
It could have taken me out. No problem. Drugged me up a tree because it had a 300-pound mule deer half eaten under a tree already that it had drug over a fence.
Yeah. Yeah. They're very powerful, and yeah, they're not really something you really see in the wild either. Many times my dad and I have been out hunting, and we've seen them maybe a handful of times. And half the time you just see their tail, or you just go and find their tracks because they're
sneaky.
Yeah, they're not trying to go up and high five you.
No, they don't want to be seen, man.
No,
and that's like, I just did a backcountry hunt in Montana for black bear just last week, and I glassed for probably 12 hours a day for 5 days. Didn't see a single wolf, which I know there's wolves there, and didn't see a single mountain lion.
Wow.
And they're there.
Oh,
it was prime mountain lion country. We saw, it was crazy because we saw mountain goats, which is like rare to see up there. I guess we saw bighorn, which is hard to see. And, we saw a bunch of bears on the one day, but for the most part, once everything gets green in that timber, they're not coming out.
Yeah.
So they just stay in that timber. You don't see them in the open.
Oh yeah.
So for me, you could just be walking through the woods, and next thing you know, it happens all the time. They take guys off of bikes.
Oh yeah.
Mountain bikers.
Yep.
So when you're talking about like that primal instincts that kind of kick in when you're out there, I feel it all the time when I'm out there. Like the hair on the back of my neck when I'm walking will stand up, and I'm like, something's here.
Yep.
Like something's around me that like, it's like this, I don't know. I would guess it's like an instinct that you have that we just kind of, a lot of people have lost it, I think, because they don't do it. They don't get out there enough. So they just go out there and willy-nilly walk around. Yeah. And next thing you know, they're getting attacked because they weren't like aware of what's going on.
True.
Because most of the time, if you just make your presence known and that you're like aware that there's something there, they'll back off.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times you just turn around, even they'll be like, oh, he knows I'm here. Like
exactly. Because
they want to sneak attack you. Like that's how they want to get you.
Well, then, or they don't know what you are. Maybe they're a juvenile and they've never seen a human before, and they're just curious. And it's a lot of those things that happen. I mean, my dad's told me many stories where he just falls asleep on a hillside because he's glassing, but the sun comes out and it's warm, so he nods off, and before he knows it, he hears something rustling behind him. So he slowly turns around, and there's a big muley deer, just like. What are you? They're trying to figure out what you are, let alone you getting woken from a sleep, and you're like, holy cow, there's a 300-pound deer behind me. Like, okay. But
it's funny how those mule deer are so curious, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I grew up with whitetail in Ohio, and if they saw a human, they were like, shoot, out of there.
Yeah.
Right. But these mule deer, they'll check you out for a minute. They're like, what is that?
Exactly. They're
especially when you get way back there because they don't see humans.
Exactly.
They're just like, what is that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then they'll let you walk pretty close. They'll let you get kind of close to them before they take off.
Oh yeah.
But that's why I love hunting them, because you can actually stalk those things. And I do archery hunt at all.
I did a little bit. My dad does majority of that stuff up in Montana. That's where they live now. My mom and pa up there, but never really got into it too much. Mainly just rifle. 243, 30-06, and a 300 short mag. Those were kind of our guns of choice. And
yeah.
But the thing is, most of the animals we took were within 20 to 40 yards. We don't do long shoots. We don't shoot 100 yards, 1,000 yards, and it's just kind of hard to think that that's sport, because it's I wouldn't want somebody doing that to me.
Yeah.
That kind of distance. If you want it to be sport, then hike that extra 4 miles. Go figure out what it is, or if it's big enough, or if you actually hit the animal. Because half the time they shoot and they're like, oh, you missed them. But you just never know, because the animals just act a certain way. I mean,
they're so far away.
You just never know. If the bullet went through and through, and then they're just kind of meandering on, and then they can just go and die. So. And
then you didn't even know, and you don't see it.
Exactly.
And now it's a waste.
Yeah, but I mean, half the time we're just trudging through the woods, and like we were talking earlier, we call it pickup sticks. You get the microburst going through there, and it blows a whole forest down, and basically you're just trudging through this stuff, trying to
blow down,
trying to go through these. It's like pole vaulting through this stuff, and it's like holy cow. Either a chainsaw, but you want to be quiet. But it's that's half the fun, is just picking your lines and just reading the land and seeing what's around. And that's why we like obviously hunting with snow. You can see a lot more stuff easier, but we like that old school tracking and just seeing what's around, and everything down to the squirrels and chipmunks that run around and give your position away too. So
right, yeah. It's really cool. I talked about this a lot. I talked about it with the Colorado Bowhunter Association, how as hunters, I think we get caught up in too much of like, oh, you hunt with a rifle, I hunt with a bow, I'm better than you. Or I hunt with a traditional bow and you hunt with a compound bow, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you used hounds and I didn't, I'm better. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, there's one entity trying to take us all down, right? There's a whole, they have so much money on that side trying to take all hunting down. They're trying to get rid of it all. That's why they're reintroducing wolves. And that's why they're making it hard to get tags. That's why they're doing all this stuff to make it difficult for us to do what we love.
Yeah.
When in reality, if we just stick together, it's kind of like an elk herd. If the elk herd stays together, it's harder for the wolves to pick them out. But when the wolves come in there and separate them, then they could pick the weak out, pick the weak ones out, and they start killing them off. So that's why as hunters, we have to stay together, man. Like we have got to come together and keep it united, right? Because we're all conservationists at the end of the day. Like we all love to be out there. We all love to hunt, and that's why, like you just said, man, part of the fun is just being out there. Like I just did that. I just went 5 days, grinder and didn't get a bear, but I had an awesome time sleeping in a wall tent, waking up in the morning, eating some breakfast over the fire and then hitting the trail. Like that, to me, that's like everything, getting up on top of the mountain, starting a little fire and glassing for a few hours, take a little nap. Like that's what it's all about. And it's about the camaraderie that's in that hunting camp too, with the guys you're around. And I just really think the guys need to put aside their ego and stop worrying about how they do it and start worrying about like how we keep this, because we'll lose it if we don't stay together.
Well, that's the thing, and teaching the next generation to responsibly, be a good conservationist to the woods and to the outdoors in general, because little by little stuff's getting taken away, and you just never know what's going to happen in the future. But you have to be good stewards of the land, and you have to take care of it, because who else is going to do it unless we do? And like you said, hunting and a lot of the money that goes into it really goes back into the conservation side and making sure herds don't get too big, and just because that's where you get a lot of disease too. So, trying to keep the herds down and just doing the proper thing the right way, you can really, live cohesively. But,
yeah. And the North American model is the gold standard. And that's why our animals here thrive. They thrive in every area that we have good conservation. For an example of bad conservation would be like California.
Yeah.
Their deer population is just like, because they don't kill any mountain lions.
Yep.
So those mountain lions will eat like a deer or elk, one or two a week.
Exactly.
So what do you think's going to happen to the population? Look at what happened in Yellowstone. They reintroduced the wolf. I think that herd went from, I don't know, Lane, can you pull those numbers up? I think it went from like 33,000 to 3,000.
Wow. It was roughly 18,000 down to 5,000 in the first 10 years, and that was down to 3,000 last time I checked. But
That is decimated.
Yeah.
Decimated. And I know it was all supposed to be for the habitat because of the grasslands that they were grazing, this and that. But to me, it's like, why don't you just give out more tags, and then let hunters do it, and then you can really control it and do it safely. Yeah. Then you know exactly how many are being killed, because the hunter, a responsible hunter, will check in his kill. So I don't know, man. I just think this whole wolf thing is really silly. Yeah. And I think it's going to do a lot more harm than it is good. And they're like, well, we're going to let you hunt them. Well, do you know how hard it is to hunt a coyote, let alone a wolf?
Yeah.
It's impossible to kill a wolf. It's so difficult to kill a wolf. So, and they're going to have a bunch of pups every year. So they just keep growing. And I don't know, man, you're just asking for a nightmare, if you ask me. But let's transition out of that. And let's pull up some highlights.
Perfect.
Let's pull up some Scott Parker.
So all the goals I scored. Yeah, I tell everybody I scored all my goals in practice, so I didn't have any left for the games. Oh, Proby.
So this is.
Yeah.
This was my third NHL fight.
That guy he doesn't even want to fight.
Oh, Proby, he's a killer. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. He passed. I think back in 2010.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, he was my third NHL fight, and he was, a big role model for me. And yeah, that's Proby. He knew what to do. But the thing is, I learned so much from that fight, and I didn't let go here because he knocked me silly. So I put him in a death grip, and
still trying to hit him.
Yeah. I'm not done yet. I'm like, damn it, Proby.
What are the refs saying to you, like right there? What do they say?
Oh, they're just losing it. They're trying to break my grip and everything.
Look at him. He's like, ah.
Yeah, this is back when they had one referee too. So it's kind of amazing these days. They have multiple refs and linesmen, and stuff still kind of goes by the wayside. But it's this big Chara. Yeah, Zeno. Great guy. Yeah, he was the biggest player to ever play in the NHL. I think he was 6'9" without skates.
Yeah. He's big.
Oh, large human.
Well, because you're a big ass dude.
Yeah, you're big until you're with somebody like that. I was like, you should be playing basketball. But yeah, Zeno, we fought multiple times in juniors when we were 16, 17, 18. I mean, we go way back. But Zeno, he was actually the captain of the Bruins when they won the cup out there, and he had a great career. So
what sparked your interest in hockey? Like, how did that happen? Because I know how football happened for me. So I'm been always interested in like what sparked it.
Well, what's crazy is I knew nothing about hockey really, and then when I was in third grade, I got a sheet at school and it said learn how to play hockey, and I didn't want to be the kid in class that didn't know what hockey was, so I took it home to my parents and I was like, "What's hockey?" And they were like, "Well, I've heard of it, but let's look into it." So that's how it kind of started out. And being, living in Alaska, 9 months out of the year is winter, so you need to kind of do a winter sport or you just go crazy.
Yeah.
And it was hockey for me. So, the whole family got skates, and there's rinks everywhere up there. Every school has 3 or 4 rinks, and you got to bring shovels and your own pucks, but outdoor rinks everywhere. And basically just did that, and it took off. So, I mean, there's multiple times where I'd skate home too. It wasn't like Mystery Alaska, like the movie, where it was pristine ice and you're skating, and I'm going down these roads that have rocks and everything on them, but it was downhill, so I just skated home. So,
and that probably made you a better skater.
Well, that, right? Yeah, it was just, what you did. And, my parents weren't happy because I came home and then my blades were all jacked up. But it was just, you're young and dumb and you don't know any better. So, and you're cold and you just want to get home. So,
well, those skates are expensive.
Yeah, they can be. It's not a cheap sport.
No.
I mean, it's getting, even with the sticks. I mean, now, God, I think even the youth sticks are like $200 or $300, and you're like, what the? That's insane.
As
it's
a parent,
like a car
you're just
payment.
You're like, oh, he broke his stick.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, yep. You just get that pit in your stomach, and you're like, uh-oh. But, it's really cool to see kids these days and how much they excel, and I'm sure it's a lot different than even you and I growing up. I mean, we played so many sports, and you may have not been ready for that sport, but you go into camp to get ready for that sport. Mm-hmm. So nowadays, like sports science and everything's changed to where
it's incredible.
You go into it at the pinnacle and you're at the top of your game, or somebody's taking your job. And I mean, it's cutthroat these days, where back in the day, nobody really wanted my role as the enforcer. So, I mean, it was like, well, I guess I'm good. And plus, breaking onto the team I did with all the superstars and, Forsberg and Waugh and Bork, and I mean, all the guys that were on the team, I'm thinking, God, I hope I even get in the lineup tonight. So,
yeah,
it was just doing that, but then having that role and protecting the guys and really hearing from them that when I was on the ice or I was on the bench, I gave them more room on the ice to do their job.
Yeah, because guys knew not to fuck around because they'd find out.
Exactly that, or just you touch my guy, I touch your guy, and then your guy doesn't like you because you got him and you got
his
him
ass
hurt.
kicked on TV.
Exactly. So I mean, there's this whole pecking order and this whole thing that works out, but if you don't have that enforcer role on the bench, which you kind of see these days, then guys take liberties. There's no accountability. Mm-hmm. I mean, they kind of
cheap shots and stuff like that.
Well, they leave it up to the refs or the league to fine a guy or do whatever. But I think knowing you may get your head kicked in the next game from somebody on the other team goes a lot further than getting a $25,000 fine and being like, oh, okay, you can't do that. Okay. But if you have somebody that wants to rip your head off the next game, you're thinking like, I'm going to have the flu that game.
Yeah.
So like you're getting in their head. Like I tell everybody, it's probably 90% mental, 20% physical. So you shut the brain down, the whole body goes. I don't care if you're a Greek god in your body. If you shut the brain down, then that body ain't going nowhere.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, I totally get that because I would do that with offensive linemen. And then if I did it with quarterbacks too, like, I told Phillip Rivers one time I was going to eat his kids.
Yeah, plant the seed.
That was in 2015.
Know.
I was like, he called, all he did was, he didn't cuss, So he called me, he always was chirping though.
Yeah.
And he just would, he called me a crybaby. I was getting held real bad and I was like screaming at the ref and he's like, shut up, crybaby. And I grabbed him by his neck and I told him I was going to eat his kids. And he never said another word to me.
Yeah, amazing.
The rest, we played each other twice a year for the next 5 years. And he never said another word to me.
Yeah, crazy.
And then whenever I was in Baltimore and he was at the Colts, I tried to I was married with kids at this point. So I'm like a little bit different, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just trying to say, you know, hey, it was great competing against you. I know this is going to probably be the last time we ever play against each other. He still wouldn't talk to me.
Really?
Yeah. I was like that. I was in his head that much.
Oh, yeah.
And then I would do with offensive linemen, you know, if they tried one little thing, one little extra thing, I'll take 15 yards because I'll fight you. So they knew that you know, they were going to have to fight. Yeah. If they did that shit, I was going to fight.
You'll raise the bar.
Yeah, you have to set the tone, right? And you know, my teammates always appreciated that. They said because it was it kind of set the tone for our defense. Especially, you know, we had one of the most memorable defenses, probably in my opinion, the best defense to ever do it. 2015, that Super Bowl defense.
That was a great year.
You know, so and you know what it's like to be on a championship team. Can you pull up some Stanley Cup stuff? What's that like?
Oh, it was unbelievable. As well as you know, I mean, the big thing too was double sevens. Was Ray Bork? You know, he had played 22 seasons, hadn't had a cup yet, and it was all about Borky that year. It was a long time, and I'm thinking, you know, I was probably 2 or 3 years in by then, and I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going to get to 22 years. So luckily, it happened 3 years in for me. But you know, just being on that team and just seeing it all come together. I mean, literally. When we first touched the ice that year in that preseason game, we just knew it was on. We did not pull our foot off the gas throughout the whole year. I mean, we won so many games. We won the President's Trophy, the best team in the league, and you know, just doing all the things and being at the pinnacle and the top, and you know, playing all the rivals and all our divisional games, and just you know, shutting those teams down, which are huge points throughout the year. And it just worked out. And then going into playoffs, we just turned it up that much more. So as well as you see this year too, and you know, unfortunately with Florida, they had 9 days off between them and Vegas playing the finals. So that's a lot of time to ponder and to think and to go, oh, I don't know if I want my body to feel this way or that way. I mean, you have to run through that wall until that last game, until that last buzzer goes off. And that's when you can kind of shut it down. But it's amazing having that little bit of time off, and then mentally you're just like, uh-oh. Or your body starts to ache or start to feel sore, you want to get back in there and just get back, get doing.
And you know, here's the thing why I think that is because you get this bruising that happens in your whole body, right? Your whole any kind of contact sport, even in basketball, you get this bruising on the outside of your body, and on your arms, and for me it was always my forearms and my hands and my shoulders, and I would just we would get a bye week. Right. And I was like, man, I feel the bruising starts to come through now because I'm like, oh shit, you know? And that was the Super Bowl year. We just wanted to get to the game. Yeah. Because that 2 weeks that you take is it seems like an eternity. Oh yeah. So I can't even, you guys play so many games. It blows my mind. Yeah. It really does, because I can't imagine playing a football game and then, you know, even when we do a Sunday game and then we have to turn around and go do a Thursday game. That is a pain in the ass. It is tough.
Quick turnaround.
It's a quick turnaround. Your body's not ready. You haven't had time to really study your opponent because you just don't. You're cutting it 3 days short, really. Yeah. On prep time. So Monday, you play the game and then Monday becomes your Wednesday right away. You know, and Wednesday is usually in the football world, you go Sunday to Sunday, right? So Monday is film. Tuesday is Monday is workout film. Tuesday is your day off, so do all our recovery. Then Wednesday, we're back in full pads practicing. Yeah. Thursday, pads practicing. Friday, just helmets and shoulder pads practicing. And then Saturday, you're doing walkthroughs, and then Sunday you play. So it's when you go Sunday to Thursday. So I can't imagine going, you know, the double headers that you guys, or the back-to-backs that you guys play. And then you guys got to travel to, I don't know if you guys did it when you were playing, but going to Finland and stuff like that. Did you guys do that stuff?
Yeah, we did that. We're unfortunately in Sweden when the trade centers got hit. So we were there preseason doing, you know, NHL Europe, and you know, the trade centers got hit. So we flew home right away. We were supposed to do Finland and a couple other places over there, but you know, that was the only time I was really overseas, you know, with the teams. Yeah. But you know, it was just, you know, kind of a tough time, but I know more and more teams are doing it. They're just trying to expand, you know, the broadcasting and get more people involved. And you know, I think it's a smart thing because
it's really smart.
Yeah, I think people enjoy it and do it. But you know, even back to what you were talking about, you know, throughout the week, you know, I think back in the day we had 1 day off a month, let alone a week. You know, I mean, it was and that one day off a month, we had it circled. And unfortunately, it was usually a Sunday, so you couldn't do anything. Dry cleaning, you couldn't get done. You couldn't really get any of your errands run, and you're like, shit. This isn't working out. But
so your suits are all dirty and wrinkled.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to do whatever you can do, until you can get your family built and you get your support system and you get people you can trust. Because I'm sure you kind of went through that too, trying to pick your people and get rid of the I call them Klingons, the people that just attach to you to get whatever leeches they can from you, and then eventually fall off or just get what they can and move on. But you start to build your right tribe and the people you can trust and you can rely on, and it really goes a long way.
Yeah. For me, that was a difficult process for me because I didn't have that like family unit, right? I didn't have a mom, I didn't have a dad. It was really just me trying to figure all this stuff out. When I got drafted, I had $7. I didn't even have a bank account. I didn't have a debit card. I didn't have any credit bill, any of that stuff. So, it was all like this culture shock for me. So I was like just looking for someone to help, while also just like focusing all my energy on my job.
Exactly.
So it was like I ended up getting some of the wrong people around me, and I probably missed out on a lot of opportunities. Didn't lose money, but I probably missed out on opportunity because I just was like, messing around with different financial advisors, and then agents were like not really putting the time into like the marketing side of it. It's just the little things like that. And then fast forward, some of the closest people to me were taking advantage of me. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, refused to see it until my wife came along and was like, hey, she showed it to me like plain and clear, like this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate too. People taking advantage that way when they just do the right thing, and in the long run,
it works out better.
It works out way better than, getting in this litigation or bullshit or piss and match or just, it sucks. But, like you said, you're trying to keep your job, not just play your job. Like, it's just like, they got drafts every year.
Every year.
Guys coming up and nipping at your heels and wanting your job and, preseason and camps. And you're just thinking like, who do I got to take out this year to, keep my job mentality, let alone, some of the superstars that go in there and, they're just like, oh, I'm good. No pads today. It's like, fuck no, I got to go above and beyond every day so the coaches see it.
I'm winning every day.
Exactly.
I'm competing every single day.
Every day.
To keep my job. Yep. And like you said, there's a draft every fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I came into the league, and it was probably the same for you, there was probably already somebody on the team that had that job.
Yeah.
So you had to take someone's job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So to take someone's job and then to keep it for a long time is a huge accomplishment. I don't care who you are, what sport it is, because when I came into the league, there was 2 guys ahead of me, and I had to they were both vets, like 4 or 5 year vets, and I took both of their jobs.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, I will not be denied,
Mm-hmm.
And then I never forgot that. That always stuck with me, and I always like cherished that. And so like a lot of guys, they'll get it and then they'll kind of like back off.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when, and every year they drafted a guy at the D-line position to take my job.
Mm-hmm.
Every single year, whether it was in the first round, the second round, or the third round, they were always trying to find a guy to replace me. Yeah. And I'm sure that's probably the same way in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
They're always trying to replace you.
Oh yeah.
Because they're cheaper.
Well, yeah, cheaper. They don't have as much to say because they're not getting cagey. When you're young, you're I wouldn't say young and dumb, but you're just naive to the real world, and you'll just run. They say run through that wall, you do it. You don't think of the consequences, but when you get older, you're thinking, I'm not running through that wall. I'll climb over it. I'll go around it. Like, why am I going through it? It's just like you get older, you get wiser. But
it's like the old bull and the young bull.
Exactly. Yep.
Let's just walk down there and fuck them all.
Yeah. I'm gonna run down. I'm gonna run down and tire the hell out of myself and get one. It's like, no, let's take them all, kid. Let's just mosey on down there.
Was it so when you first got in the locker room as a rookie? You probably how it is when you're a rookie. You're like fucking excited. You're like,
oh yeah,
in
butterflies.
A good mood. You're like, you're butterflies. You're all happy all the time. You're just excited to be there.
Yeah.
Then the vets are all fucking miserable, and you're like, why are they so miserable?
Mm-hmm.
And then you become a vet, and you're like, oh,
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I understand now.
Yeah.
I see it now. For me, it was you probably know who I'm talking about. His name's Justin Bannon.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, he had some. He struggled after the NFL. And,
Yeah.
Now he's doing some time, but he was always a good friend to me and always a good mentor. And I just remember him. He was like, "What the fuck are you so happy about?" And I'm like, why are you so miserable?
Exactly.
And then because he was like 11 years in when I came in, and then he's like, listen to me, don't trust anybody. And I'm like, why?
Oh damn.
I'm like, you can't trust anybody? And he's like, don't trust anybody in this building. Any of these buildings, they're all. out to get you, basically, you know, and they're all going to do what they can to take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, yeah, whatever, old man, you know. And then I saw it for myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, he was right.
Yeah.
You know, he was fucking right. And then I was that old grumpy vet, you know, coming into work every day, a little bit grumpy. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And then until finally I was like, man, fuck this. I had enough.
Yeah, just done. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
just had enough of this shit.
Yeah, you get to that point where you just, the bullshit's, you know, kind of, the glass is filled over, you know, it's spilled over.
Yeah, it's
and
spilled
you're just
way
like,
over.
you know, it's like, yeah, it's just time. And yeah.
At this, and especially with like the damage I was doing to my body, I was like, you know, I was like, man, my head was just getting, you know, every play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting somebody with my head every fucking play. And then it's two big ass offensive linemen every play. And then you got to tackle a running back. And then, you know, then you're getting, you know, friendly fire from your linebackers and your other D linemen and your safeties are coming in there. And so it was just, you know, it dislocated my elbow real bad in 2019 and bounced back from that. And then it ended up, and I didn't get re-signed to Denver. So I was pissed. So I went to Baltimore on like a mission with, you know, and it was COVID year, 2020. No fans. So it was like practice every game.
Oh, God. It had to have been.
It was fucking
worst,
miserable.
Yeah.
Because you know how it is with the fans. They get you going.
Oh, they hype you up. Yeah.
Yeah, they get you going,
You
man.
feed off of their energy. So, yeah, there's something about it. When they have the fake fans or all this stuff, and it's like, what the shit? Like, this isn't right.
Yeah, this is weird. I remember the first game we were playing against Cleveland. I was in Baltimore, so we were playing against Cleveland, and we go out there, and I can hear everything they're saying over there. I could hear them in the huddle talking. I'm like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah. You don't have the QB going, hey, quiet down, everybody. It's like, oh, you ain't got to do that today.
Yeah.
So,
And so we you know, we had this term, you know, bring your own energy because you had to.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Like when you make a play, like in Denver, man, I would make a play. It didn't matter where I made the play.
Oh, yeah.
Once they said my name, the whole stadium would just start howling.
erupts, yeah.
It just erupts and howls, and you get a big sack in a game or something. Like they just, you know, howling. And I feed off that shit.
Yeah.
So now when you're playing with no fans, you make a play. It's just like, all right, let's go to the next one.
Exactly.
But we as a unit, we had a fun year. Also, it was the 2020 season. If you take out the COVID shit, we probably win a Super Bowl in Baltimore. I really believe that because we had a tight group and we had a lot of good players. You know, Calais Campbell and Mark Ingram was on that team, and Lamar Jackson. You know, just a solid crew. Really good offensive line. But COVID kind of fucked it all up. You know, we were playing games on Wednesdays and shit like this. You know, it was just all over the place. You know, quarterback's not playing this game, or this guy's not playing that game. They left me out of a game one time because I had the sniffles.
Really?
Just the sniffles, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And they knew that my wife was traveling back and forth, so they were like, they made a big deal about that and kind of put it on her, and I felt bad for her because she kind of took the hit for that. But you know, when you only play 16, 17 games, those games are important. You can't miss any of them.
Very.
You know, so we would bring our own energy. If somebody would make a play, we would hype them up. You know, we'd just hype each other up.
Heck yeah.
But it's still like it was like, man, this shit is like, it's just,
Strange.
you know, it was just crazy. The whole COVID bullshit with the vaccines and then the fucking bullshit that we had to deal with, man. It was disgusting.
Yeah. I'm glad I wasn't playing during that either because I heard everything you guys had to go through and like just constant swabs and just protocols and just, it's like, holy cow, talk about, there's enough stuff you have to deal with, let alone adding 10 more things to your daily regime, you know? So,
Well, yeah, you're fucking my whole routine up, man. I got to get in here. I got to come in here 2 hours earlier just so I can, because you'd have to come in there, wait in line, get swabbed, wait for like 30 to 40 minutes, and then they would tell you if you were clear or not. Yeah. And sometimes they would have like a false negative, so you'd have to, or a false positive, so you'd have to go do it again and wait another hour or another 30 minutes, and then you could go back in. So like you're showing up in a, you know, they eventually made it so we weren't even going to meetings. We were just doing everything virtually. Really? Which actually was kind of nice because I just go get in the deer stand and do my meetings from the deer stand.
Exactly.
I killed a lot of deer out of that stand on meetings, you know. See? In Baltimore, it's like unlimited doe tags because they're like rats out there.
Really?
So you could just sling arrows all day long. You know, it was fun. Every day but Sunday you can hunt, you know, so it was really fun.
That's awesome.
That was like only positive that came out of it, you know. But yeah, man, it's retirement. Like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about like that transition out of retirement because you're working with vets.
Yep.
And what is your foundation called again?
Parker's Platoon.
Parker's Platoon.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is that? I think that athletes and vets kind of are very similar because we have like that high adrenaline. It's like high adrenaline and then it goes low and then it goes high and then it goes low. So like trying to stay even keel is like really, it's a tough and challenging thing you have to do every day.
I think the OCD or just us being able to do stuff 10,000 times and not getting bored with it. You know, they do the same thing. So we all have similarities that way. We all like the locker room. We all like our platoon and our boys and our group. You know, I mean, you build that brotherhood, and you know, there's something about it. And kind of when it's done, you're just done. You know, like both of us, you get slapped in the ass and you're out of the locker room. You know, you don't have access to that anymore. You don't have access to that brotherhood, and you kind of get lost. You know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you know, my family, you know, being the way they were awesome. You know, it was you know, not the easiest transition with my health and everything, just trying to find answers to my questions. And, you know, it took me a good 8 years to find that. And a lot of it came with just us starting our businesses and trying different products that we know could work, that weren't, you know, crazy LSD or crazy drugs, but finding something that, you know, is on earth that we can utilize that isn't a synthetic or isn't, you know, been GMO'd or tweaked. And, you know, I think a lot of this stuff can really help guys transition quicker and be able to get into the real world and be able to add to it that much more, that much quicker. Because, you know, when you're just sitting at home or spinning, or you don't get that itinerary and I don't know what I'm doing today. Yeah. You know, there's things to do.
Routine is important.
Oh, it's huge. You know,
it's really important to me.
Yeah, that repetition, like going to the rink, and like people thought that we were at the rink for maybe 2 hours a day. I mean, I'd be there 6 to 8 hours a day. You know, I'd be there 6 a.m. to, you know, 5 p.m. sometimes, just doing my job and trying to
get better, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, trying to get just a little bit better every time you go out there, right?
Yeah, you're trying to heal something. You're trying to, you know, work on, you know, a certain part of your game that, you know, maybe you may be lacking. And so doing things like that, it's a constant evolution of, you know, trying and just, you know, figuring it out. Like I said, doing something 1,000 times that day, and then eventually you got the, you know, 10 to 20,000 repetitions, and it just becomes second nature. Yeah. So, you know, being able to do stuff like that, but, you know, getting back to the vets and our active duty, or just the military and the sports side, we have a lot in common because of what we do. And, you know, we want to take care of each other, and we want to be a good teammate and get the job done. You know, by the end of the day, you know, we wanted those 2 points. And, you know, I would do pretty much anything I could to get that job done, because we knew at the end of the year it added up, and it really helped out with, you know, rankings and who you were playing, and, you know, how hard it was going to be in the future. So you try to control that.
Yeah, control what you can control, right?
Exactly.
And all you control, all that you really can control is how hard you work.
Exactly.
You know, because you can't control any of the outside bullshit that, you know, a lot of times I've caught myself getting caught up in that, like, oh, this guy's doing this and that guy's doing that. It's like, no, like, don't worry about that. Yeah. Just worry about what you can control, right? Because you can't force anybody to do anything, or you can't force a situation. You know, and I'll be completely honest with you, like, since we're talking about like that transition out of the professional sports, you know, for me, the anxiety and the depression was like crippling. Like I deal with it like daily, you know, but it's just finding things. Because sometimes I'll just be sitting around and I'm like, man, I just want to manhandle somebody, you know, like I just want to like feel that aggression, you know, like put my hands on somebody and shed off a block and make a tackle and feel the crowd, you know, rumble and feel that like vibration. Yeah. And it's just like I chased it for so long, and then it's gone. And honestly, like you said it took 8 years for you to kind of find it. You know, did you deal with kind of the same things?
Yeah, a lot of it. Just not really having a purpose, or just trying to figure out that next step. And we kind of call it, you know, chapters of our life. And, you know, hockey was just a chapter, and now you just got to keep turning the pages and keep writing. But, you know, I think if you do good, more good comes to you. So just trying to, you know, be a good part of society. And, you know, I had the same thing where I was angry, and my big thing was my head, and just having the thumping and the pounding and the migraines and the seizures, and just going through all that, and just not knowing, you know, why is it happening, and how long is it going to happen for, and then what can I do to fix this? Like,
yeah, can we talk about this? I've had seizures before, so like I'd like to kind of hit on that. Like, what was that? What was that like?
A lot of it was just, you know, the pressures in my head. You know, I took a puck in the ice socket in 2005 in San Jose. It was actually right before the season was starting, and it was in practice, and the thing hit me square in the eye socket, broke my orbital in 2 spots, broke my nose in 4 spots. It actually compounded my eye, and they said it bruised my brainstem. So once that happens, it doesn't regenerate or heal. So I was dealing with that, as well as the other concussions from previous fights, and just getting jarred around on the ice. Just some of the hits, I felt my, you know, you know, you kind of see the stars and, you know, kind of Tweeties, you know, like the cartoons really, you know, do it right when it comes to that. I'm sure the person who did that had a concussion at some point, because it's very similar to that, where I would see the stars and I would actually see like almost, but I call it my bacteria. It felt like it was a petri dish, and I can see all these black things just moving around my eyes. And I was like, oh my God. And then you're trying to, for one, keep your job. You don't want to go on protocol or deal with any of that stuff. Like, you're like, no, I want to be on the bench and be ready for the next shift. And like, there's just something about that. You want to do your job. And I think it's pretty powerful, because like, you could take the easy road out and be like, I don't feel good, I'm not going to do this. But you know, if you want to stay and you want to do your job,
you better show up.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's just the more you take. And like I said, when I was little, or when I was younger in my career, 20, I mean, you could have hit me in the head with a 2x4 and I would have laughed at you and just went to town. But
yeah,
you know, towards the end of my career, you know, just any little thing,
you get a little bit gun shy.
Oh Jesus, yeah, you're just thinking elbows are flying, shoulders are going, even a body check, and getting your brain, you know, bouncing against your skull. You're thinking, okay, how many more of these can I take before?
I was starting to get them really easy. You know, like things that normally wouldn't bother me. I was like, man, I feel like nauseous. What's going on?
Exactly. Same. Yeah. Just taking a hit, or just even in practice, just doing a quick, you know, swinging my head around and being like, oh no.
Just moving your head quick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's like, oh my God.
Make you a little bit dizzy.
Yeah. But you're thinking like, oh, I'm this tough guy. I can, you know, get through anything. And it's the one thing you can't see that messes with you the most, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've always said too, I want a big bone sticking on my arm, and the guys are like, oh shit, you're messed up. But when they can't see it and it's in your brain, or, you know, it sucks to be like, no, I can't go today, boys. And you look fine, but it's the invisible disability.
And you feel like you're letting your boys down too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because those are your brothers.
Exactly.
So it feels like you're letting them down. And it's like, man, I just wish I could be out there. When you were dealing with the brainstem issue, because I bruised my brainstem as well. Mm-hmm. Right at the base of my brainstem at C1. It was a bad bruise on my spinal cord. I just took a bad hit. That's how I was paralyzed from that. And I played 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And I never let that bruise heal, so I wasn't getting any fresh blood to my brain.
Yeah.
So was it the same kind of thing? Were you not getting any fresh blood up to your brain? Was it the same thing? Were you having hallucinations at night, like things like that?
I don't know if it was hallucinations, but I know a lot of my stuff was my septum and my breathing, you know, because trying to breathe out of your nose, like, it should be like 70% of your breathing, but I became a mouth breather, which isn't good.
Right.
And then all that stuff started to happen, the sleep apnea and all that, and just getting dry mouth and just not getting proper sleep. And when you don't sleep proper, then body's not healing, and then you wake up the next day feeling like shit.
Yeah.
So you want to get into your REM sleep. You want to be able to have your body just start to repair itself and heal itself, so you wake up the next day refreshed and ready to go. But I wasn't able to do that, so there was many nights to where you just, the next day you wake up and you're just like, you know, what the shit's going on? Like, I wake up even worse than I went to bed feeling. Like, it's just like, holy cow, what do I got to do to get over the...
Man, I can relate to that.
Over the pinnacle, over the hill, and be like, I want to feel better. I want to do better, and I want to keep my job.
And then what are the doctors telling you?
You know, Jesus, not much. I mean, unfortunately, like with the teams and stuff, they get like yes men doctors. Yep. And, you know, it's, you know, I think they do just enough to keep their job. So
yeah. I
don't think they have your best interest out for you in the long run. And basically they just kind of put Band-Aids on everything to be like, hey, let's just do this. And it's like, no, well, because like I always thought too, is we're athletes, so we heal so much faster than the normal people. Because, you know, guys would get surgeries or something would happen, and a normal person, it would take them 6 months to come back from, and we're coming back for it in 3 to 4 weeks. And it's like, wow, we're just superhuman. But it's not that. It's just them kind of pushing the envelope, saying, hey, yeah, you're good. Oh, yeah, you're 90%, which you're actually probably 50. But it's just a percent. And basically, it's, like I said, mental. You know, mental is huge. If they say you're good, you're going.
Yeah, you're like, okay, thinking, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm green-lit. I'm awesome. So
yeah.
They said I'm good. I'm good. And that's what you believe. You know, so it's kind of crazy how that all works in. But like we're talking, too, quality of life when you're done with the sport or your job, and you kind of want that as well, because you're, you know, when I'm young, I mean, I would have ran through, you know, brick walls, but, you know, like I said, now I just walk around them. I'm like, yeah, I'm smarter.
Yeah.
I mean, and
work smarter, right?
Exactly. Work smarter, not harder. Yeah. So
it's kind of like, you know, I always think about this when I'm climbing mountains, you know, just call them mountains, but they're just big ass hills, you know? But the side hilling, right?
Oh yeah.
So side hilling is like something I didn't even really know about until I started doing it. Because to me, I'm like, I'm just going to try to get up there as fast as I can. But then you get up there and you're like, oh shit, I'm out of water. I'm dog ass tired and I got to get out of here. You know, so it's like that working smarter, right? It was the same way with football. It was like, okay, taking on like double teams for me, you know, I was like 285 to 295 pounds when I played. And I'm like 280 now. So I really was not too heavy, you know, like, you know, a lot of guys are carrying more weight than they need.
Yeah.
So but for me, I was like, okay, in these double teams, sometimes I would like, when I was young, I would just like muscle through them, right? Like forget technique. I'm just going to muscle through this. And then as I got older, I realized like, I don't have to like muscle through everything, right? Like I can like kind of drop a knee and throw my hip into this other guy while I control this guy, and that'll still do the job, you know? And then I just was like so crazy about like not giving ground, you know, and making sure I knock somebody's head, you know, make sure I wanted their head to like jerk back when I hit them, you know, stuff like that. And then I got older and I was like, I don't need to do that every play, you know. I could still handle them without doing it like a dummy, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably the same way in hockey. It's like I'm going to check everything I could possibly check, right? Like I'm putting my body on somebody no matter what.
Yeah.
And any fight that I can get in, I'm getting in. And that's kind of how I played. It was just a mentality, right? And then you realize like I'm fucking myself up out here, you know. The longevity isn't there because I was the first 4 years of my career I was so hard on my body. You know, I was doing a lot of things to take care of it, but I wasn't being safe on the field. You know what I mean? And you can't be safe out there. You can just be, you know, I always say if you play pussy, you get fucked, you know?
Yep.
Like if you play soft out there, you're going to get hurt. Like that's just going to happen.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's probably the same way in skating, right? If you go out there and you skate around, like trying not to get hurt, I bet you get hurt.
Oh yeah.
You
Definitely.
know? So it's like, you know, if there's a pile, I'm diving into that pile because if you get caught standing around the pile, that's when your legs get rolled up on, and that's when you get pushed over the pile and then stuff like that. You know, so I was like, I'm in every pile no matter what.
Oh yeah.
So as I got older, I realized like, okay, I could still get in on this pile. I just don't have to lead with my head.
Yeah.
You know, I can keep my head out of there, and that kind of stuff really helped like take my career a little bit longer. You know, for me, for the NFL to play 10 years at the position I did is a long time. You know, so how long did you play?
I played. It was about 10 years, but with the lockout and trying to think of the other year, I didn't really. I played a few games that year, but that was when I took the puck in the eye socket. So it was kind of, I call it 8+ seasons, but even doing that as an enforcer is kind of longevity because, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, the guys lasted like that because like Probert and some of those big boys back in the day, they scored and they, had assists and they fought and they did everything. And then, like I said, the evolution of hockey when I broke in, in kind of the late 90s was I was already on a superstar team, so I wasn't going to get 10 minutes to play a game and be able to showcase what I was able to do in all the other previous leagues I did it in. So, I kind of wish I would have had that opportunity, but maybe I wouldn't have had, the Stanley Cup, and I wouldn't have played with all the, the great Hall of Famers that I played with either. So, you always kind of wonder, but, there's obviously nothing you can do about it. So don't cry over spilt milk. Just, that's why I just try to educate kids, or if they have questions, I just try to stay as positive and give them the best advice I possibly can.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you can always look back, and there's always, I can even do it, now I can look back and be like, man, I should have done it this way, or I should have done that, or I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have listened to this guy. But you can't like live in regret, right? You have to just kind of accept it for what it is and kind of move forward.
Yeah, just chalk it up as a
pass it
life
on
lesson
to somebody, and hopefully they learn from your mistakes.
Exactly. That's what it's about. It's just taking care of the next generation and just supporting them and giving them whatever they can. So, I think it's huge. And, that's what I really like about like the San Jose Sharks, alumni and like the team and the management is they really have a lot of the alumni guys come out. They have them be a part of the team. And if guys have questions, they can go talk to the guys. And there's just something about that camaraderie about talking to an old KG veteran that may give this newer guy some really good advice that may propel him to the next level or just help him be a better player in general. So I think it goes a long way to have that big brother feeling with the teams in general. So, it just never goes away. And plus it gives the alumni and the veteran guy a sense of purpose too. Like I'm helping, you don't have to be paid by the team. You don't have to, need a box or to watch the games in, but, if they would just give us at least a player card or give us something to get into the arena to be able to still be a kind of a part of, I think it would go a lot further for, the alumni as well as the team,
Yeah,
the
so
guys on the
the
team
Broncos
in
are
general.
pretty, with new ownership now, like they're pretty cool about, letting me come around.
That's awesome.
I'll just go over there every now and then, just a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Just be around the building, it makes you feel good just to kind of feel welcomed still.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of the guys that I know, a lot of the guys in that building I still know.
Yeah.
So I get to go, see the training staff and see the, the equipment guys, just the guys that you got to see every single day.
Exactly.
And you had like a really good relationship with, because when I was with the Broncos for 8 years, so when you're with the team that long, that's like your family, that's the longest time I ever spent anywhere.
Yeah.
I bounced around so much as a kid, and then, 4 years in high school, and then 4 years in college. And then, a lot of guys go 4 years to a team, and then next, another 4 years at another team. And then, then it's out. But to spend 8 years in one place, that's the longest I ever been anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I developed a lot of good relationships in there. So the fact that they let me come around and they let me come in the building, I don't know if the Avalanche let you do that at all.
Not really. And I mean, I think they try, but it's not like other organizations do. And I think a lot of the other ones do it. And I mean, I don't know why you couldn't take what they're doing and just replicate it, because it's working.
It works.
But yeah, just to be able to have that big brother mentality, I think it would, make a huge difference. But
yeah, because when I'm over there, those guys always want to come up to me and pick my brain.
Exactly. And why not educate and be able to give little tools, like I said, put the tools in the toolbox to make them successful with. So if you can help them out, like by one little thing, like to make them that much of a better player on every play, and like it can, it can take them to the next level, or it makes the team that much better, or it creates a longer career for them. I mean, you can even, like you said, teach them smarter, not harder, and give them little snippets, and you never know where it can go. But, just having the coaching staff that's there every day, and the guys get annoyed, or they're just, like Charlie Brown's teacher when the coaches are talking sometimes, and the kids aren't even listening, because it's just every day you're just getting something at you. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like
constant bombardment with criticism and
that or video, and like I'm sure like your guys' video,
just tape.
You can slow mo it and you can stop it, and my stick's off the ice for a millisecond, but that's because I'm in the middle of a stride, and it's just really not humanly possible to always have your stick on the ice, and they just like to pause it right there and see how are you supposed to take a pass with your stick not on the ice. It's like, well, yeah, in another millisecond it is on the ice, and I could have received the pass. So it's just little things like that an attaboy goes a long way, I think.
It does.
So
it really does.
Instead of never doing anything right ever, and you're just like, shit, am I just totally fucked up, or it's just nice to have an attaboy and to know you did the right thing.
Yeah, and I think there's a fine line, right? It's some coaches are like they'll get a guy that they love, so they can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Even though, like, I remember being younger, being like, you're not going to coach him on that,
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I had a coach named Bill Kolar, and this guy was a psycho, but I love him. We're like really good friends now. But he coached me so hard. I mean, he would yell and scream, but every time I did something wrong, he would let me know. But you know what else he did? Every time I did something right, he would just as fired up as I was to make the play.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, that's like, not having a father growing up and not having a mother and stuff. So like the coaches were where I got that kind of like, hey, good job,
Mm-hmm.
So I was always wanting my coach to love me, I was always looking for that love from my coaches. So to have a coach that was like hard on you, but also showed you love whenever you made a good play.
Yeah.
And he used to say all the time, he's like, you guys might hate me now, but you're going to love me when you're done, because you're going to appreciate how hard I coached you. And I was like, man, it was so right. Cause sometimes I'd be like, man, I do not feel like hearing Bill today.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so glad he did, because he made me better every single day. Like every day he'd be like, hey, let's work on this. Let's work on that. And, he'd be like, oh, you set football back 50 years with that play. Come on. He would say crazy things. We had a kid from Australia. He told him to quit and go back to Australia, start a kangaroo farm, stuff like that. But he would push him. But then when he made a play, he'd get just as fired up,
Yeah.
And that's just like, to me, that's what it's about, and what you said about like that attaboy. Everything you do is just to hear your coach tell you, good job.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how you do it, Wolfie.
Yeah,
There you go,
exactly.
Park. That's how you do it.
Uh-huh.
That's how we want it done.
Yeah.
And then show all the other guys, look, this is how we want it done.
Exactly.
For me, I don't know if you guys do it in NHL, but there's like teach tape, right? So coaches will pull up, like, there's a new technique we're learning. here's a teach tape. I always wanted to be the guy on that teach tape because I wanted to be the one doing it exactly right. You know, do it, whether it was a footwork drill or a bag drill or a blocking drill, any of that stuff, or a tackling drill. I wanted to be that guy on the teach tape.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so just doing everything, you know, repetition, you know, what do they say? It's like 400 times to make it muscle memory, or 4,000, I don't know. 4,000 times maybe.
I know it's some scientific thing, but yeah.
Whatever. I just say if you do it over and over again, you just don't have
really
to think
good
about
at
it whenever you're tired. You know,
Exactly.
when you're tired and you can do it without thinking, that's when it's muscle memory.
Yep, exactly.
So just doing it over and over again, and you know, I think that the Avalanche should do more of bringing you guys around. You know, like because I think it'd do good for you and do good for them, and because that's a lot of young guys over there.
Oh, it is, and you know, we really appreciate them having us out for the float parade when they won the cup last year, and it was cool they brought us out for that. But you know, I think it would be awesome to be even more involved. And like I said, they don't have to pay us, and just for us to be able to go around and just be a part of, and you know, have that brotherhood still, and or little brotherhood, and you know, be able to, like I said, just the little things are just having us around. You know, I loved it when Huey Krupp and the boys used to come around back in the day, and the old guys that paved the way for us. And you know, I would pick their brain every time I saw them because they were there. And,
You can always learn something.
Yeah, they lived it and they did it, and you're like, who better to hear it from than the horse's mouth? And be like, oh, what about this? And they're like, okay, kid, let me teach you. So there's just something about that really goes a long way.
Yeah, man, I think they need to do more of that. That was the same thing at the Super Bowl year. They brought a lot of the guys from the 96, 97 team.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of those guys were around, you know, TD, you know, John Elway's there every day anyways, you know, but just picking those guys' brains, you know, Steve Atwater and, you know, Big Al Williams and just all those guys coming around. You could just pick their brains, man. Just ask them a question. They loved it. They loved to talk to us and hang around with us. And I just saw it and I was like, man, one day I'm going to be that guy, you know? So let's talk about like being a teammate, right? Like what makes a good teammate, you know, in your opinion?
Really being a good teammate is just doing your job, I think, and really just everybody does their job. We're successful at the end of the day. And I think that's why even me breaking onto the team back in the day and having all the superstars and being able to flip that switch and thinking, okay, I may only play a minute tonight, but it's going to be the best, hardest minute ever. And I'm going to leave, you know, everything on the ice. And that was the biggest thing, was just doing my role however I could to create that room for the players and for us to get those 2 points. Because like I said, that added up at the end of the year. So every game was important. And, you know, we didn't, this team tonight, you know, we never really took a night off. Even playing on the Avs for all those years, and many years we went to the Cup or went to the playoffs. And a lot of teams never make it to the playoffs for 10 years. And they're done in April, and they got a long summer. But, you know, we would go, you know, second, third round a lot, and, you know, it was a shorter summer. So you had to get right back into it. And the big thing, I think, with Lauren Landau back in the day, our strength coach, before he went to the Broncos, he just said, reinvent yourself every year and bring something new to the table, because if you do, then you have that much more to add. You know, you just have that much more where the team go, okay, now you can do this, so let's put you in that situation.
Yeah.
So
the more you can do, right?
Exactly. You say, oh, I didn't know you can do this, and then you get put into that scenario. So it's just really being able to have all those tools to be able to go, yeah, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. So it's really just trying to excel and not get complacent in your role and your job, and just always trying to do better and be better. And I think that really
leading
rubs
by
off.
example, right? Like let your work speak for it, right?
Exactly.
And showing up to practice and grinding every day, you
Yep.
know, putting that same grind in every single day.
Yep.
I think is really important as a teammate. You know, that was just something I took pride in. Was I was going to compete in practice every day. I was going to run to the ball every play.
Yep.
You know, I wasn't going to take plays off of whether it was practice or a drill. Like I was going to go as hard as I possibly could every single time I was out there.
Yep.
And when you talk about Lauren, like, dude, that guy
He's amazing.
is the best,
Yeah.
man. He is the absolute best. Like there's not I've worked with a lot of strength coaches, and you know, I usually, you know, as you spend most of your time with the strength coach,
Yeah.
because that's who you're with, you know, in the off season. That's who you're with, you know, rehabbing and doing whatever, you know, you're with that guy. And Lauren, to me, was one of the best to ever do it. You know, and I think that, you know, I think he got a bad rap this year with the Broncos. They kind of tried to blame him for all the injuries. I'm like, dude, always stayed healthy when I was working with him.
Exactly. No, yeah,
Always, because he does the functional. Everything is functional with him.
Exactly.
Like he watches and sees what you do, and he's gonna give you exercises and workouts to make you better at that.
Individually too, because you may be all football, but you guys don't all do the same thing. So you individually all have different things to do to make you the best at your position.
Yeah, let me tell you, a quarterback and a D lineman couldn't be more different. We should never be doing the same workout.
Exactly.
Ever.
Yeah.
We should never be doing the same workout.
Yeah, but that's where LL comes in, and he's so good at that because the years we would work out with him, he'd have soccer players in there, football players, swimmers,
Fighters.
Yeah, fighters. I mean, and then hockey guys, and then so everybody was doing something different because it was specific to their sport and specific to what they needed to work on to excel to the next level. So that's what he was always really good on, was the sports science and knowing what people needed and giving it to us. So
yeah,
that
he's a
was
genius,
huge.
man.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love him. I'm still really close with him. I don't know if you talk to him a lot or
Ditto.
not.
Oh yeah, all the
But
time.
he's one of the best people, out there. He's so motivational too, right?
Yeah.
Like he's always giving you like little coaching points, like life points, even, when I was younger, I was a wild man, and he was like, hey man, like maybe lay off the tequila, like, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I probably shouldn't do that. He's like, he told me one time, he said, don't sacrifice what you want the most for what you want right now.
True.
And that always stuck with me.
Smart. Yeah.
That's the other thing we talk about like great teammates and older players that kind of like had an impact on you. For me, Peyton Manning was one of those guys that just like, he would have breakfast with me almost every morning because we were in the building at the same time. He'd come and sit down and I would just like listen to him. Right. And he would just, he told me something I never forgot, he said some things that like really stuck with me, but this always really stuck with me. He said, you either get better or you get worse. He said, you never stay the same. He said, because everybody around you is either working or not working. So like, if you're just doing this and coasting and maintaining, somebody else is outworking you, and that means you're getting worse.
Yep.
So it's not just there's outside variables. There's other guys that are working harder. There's a junior in college right now who is busting his ass, and he's going to ball out senior year, and he might be a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
And he's coming to take your job. He's like, so you have to think that way. You have to think, am I getting better or am I getting worse?
Well, it's all those scenarios or all those sayings too, like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
'Cause you could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't implement it or you don't try, then that person that just wants it that much more is going to take it from you. So yeah, I mean,
that's a Landau quote.
Yeah, people that get complacent, I mean, you can be stagnant or you can always excel and try to get better and do better. So
yeah,
that was kind of always our mentality was, I want to excel. And with LL saying, add something new to your toolbox every year, and just doing that and having all those really good mentors and good people, in the tribe back in the day. And it doesn't just happen. You have to build it. Like you said, you have to go through people that screw you over, and then you cut them out, and it's a life lesson. It is what it is, but you find out the true people in your life that you can rely on and bounce stuff off of, and isn't going to be out to the whole world.
Yeah,
so,
and they're not out to get you.
No.
They're not out to. And that's what doing this podcast, that was like the main thing I wanted to do. Is I didn't want to ever bring somebody on and be like, try to do like an I gotcha moment. Like, oh, gotcha to say this, gotcha to say that. It's like, to me, that's like the scummiest thing you could do to somebody. Like, because the best part about podcasting is you don't have the FCC. So we can say and talk about whatever the hell we want. So I'm not going to take advantage of somebody and be like, oh, let me see what I can get you to say, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get you to say this or say that. No, I want it to be like a real conversation where we're just talking about shit that somebody could listen to this podcast and they might be like, man, I'm going through the same shit. If they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
Just even me, I feel better today because knowing that you went through some of the same shit that I'm going through right now.
Yeah, we walk the same path, and to know you're not alone in this world, it kind of gives you an attaboy too by yourself, just saying, okay, I'm not alone. And that was one of the big things when I transitioned too. And like I said, it took many years, and my family being by my side and sticking with me through all my shitty days, that shows, true commitment too. My son DJ and wife, Francesca, being there for me, they've seen me at my worst. And, now we want to do better, and I want them to see me at my best. So, there's things to strive for and things to live for, and things that we still want to accomplish. So, there's lots of life after sports. So, you want to be able to enjoy it too. So,
how old were you when you retired?
Oh God, 30, I believe. Yeah, I think it was about 30. I think I played I broke in when I was 20. So yeah, it was about 10 years at 30 when I retired. And yeah, like I said, it wasn't the greatest retirement. And unfortunately, not everybody gets to go out wearing 4 jerseys that game, using 50 sticks that game. And, when we're done, we're just done and nobody knows where we went. And it's like, what happened to that guy? There wasn't a retirement night and you didn't get your jersey raised into the state and into the rafters. So it's just kind of, once guys are gone, they're gone. And people are like, hey, where did so-and-so go? And it's just kind of, you're just gone. So, yeah, it's a little bit different, a little bit hard, but,
That's where I feel super blessed with the Broncos because, I was in Baltimore for those 2 years and I hated the way that I went out. Like, I just hated it, going out with an injury and kind of being I left on my own. I could have kept playing probably, but I would have just fucked myself up even worse.
Exactly.
So I was like, man, it's time to be done. And then I contacted, some of the guys at the Broncos that I know and I was like, hey, man, I'd love to retire a Bronco. And they're like, hell yeah. They're like, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And dude, they treated me like, they gave me a whole day to come out to training camp and honored me at training camp. And then they, the second game of the season, they brought me out on the field right before the game started.
That's huge.
And did like a whole, send off. And that just to me was like, I didn't like tear up in a moment, but afterwards I was like, man, that was, even when I think about it now, I'm like, man, that's special because not everybody gets that.
That's deep. It is. I mean, to have that many people appreciate what you did and just, you're not really forgotten. And,
yeah.
I didn't really do it to be remembered forever. I just did it to be a good teammate and to get the job done. I've always been on teams. The team mentality is kind of all I really know. So it's kind of like, that's why in the real world, you're trying to build a team and you're almost like a GM. You got to like fire people and you got to try to hire people and you're just trying to build like your network of people around you once you're done to who can I trust, who can I bounce stuff off of, and who's not going to screw me over. It's kind of the main thing
and that's hard, man. That is hard. It is difficult because especially if people know what you went through and what you've gone through and how you got to where you're at, you think they would like respect that, and be like, man, I would never take advantage of this guy.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
No, it's almost like they just see you almost like a little weak and they're like, what else can I get off this guy before he gets wise enough or doesn't have a concussion or his brain does get fixed enough where he's smart enough to go, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Where like, in the locker room, like your brothers are your brothers and like you can trust them. Like, here's 10 grand, hold on to this for me. Where you give 10 grand to someone else, it's like, where's my 10 grand? It's like, well... it's like when it starts out that way, you're like, son of a, that 10 grand's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Might as well write that one off.
Exactly.
It's over.
Yeah. So
and that's like, putting a team together, man. Like, my wife is like such a rock star with this shit, like she runs the household. Like when it comes to like the bills and all the shit that I just like am not even really capable of fucking, being good at doing. Like, yeah, I could do it, but it's going to be a fucking mess.
Oh yeah.
When tax season comes around,
good
like,
luck.
oh fuck, I'll be in jail.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in jail. Like, no, I'm not paying it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's
why am I
stupid.
doing
I'm
that?
not paying that.
Yeah.
But she just like fucking holds it down for me, man. Like and for our family in general, like she, on top of that, she's like a great teammate because she holds me accountable.
Oh, ditto.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, I don't get away with any of that bullshit. Like there is no like, feeling sorry for myself. There is no, oh, I don't feel like it today. It's like, no, get your ass up. Even when I was playing, there was times where I would wake up in the morning and I would just fucking roll out of my bed and lay on the ground and crawl. And I would like lay on a ball, because I'm just like, fuck it, everything fucking hurts. Like I can't even move. Like, and she would just be like, get your ass up, get in a shower and get to work. And I'd be like, fuck, all right, let's go.
That's where
and you just need that little push sometimes. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But
like as big and strong and as tough as we are, we still like every great man has a great woman behind him or by his side.
Yep, exactly.
And that's just like, that's the realest thing, man. Like the most important decision I ever made was who I married, and it's just like, from investments to like she, my wife actually she netted $1 million this year.
Wow.
Which is like fucking crazy, and it was all off of investments that like were her idea, these real estate deals that she was like, I know this is going to work out. Like, let me do it. And I'm like, all right, go ahead.
Run with it.
And she fucking did it, and then she's like already on the next deal and already on the next, she helped set all this shit up,
That's
like
awesome.
even the podcast, she was like, she fucking supports me in whatever I'm doing, and sacrifices a lot of times what she wants to do so that I can chase my dreams. And that's just like, the ultimate sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what life is about, and that's how success is built, is by sacrificing, you know, just to make it to the league. You know, I had to, you know, going through college, there's a lot of times where my other teammates were, they were out fucking partying, and I was like, man, that sounds like a good fucking time. I wish I was partying right now.
Yep.
But then it's like, no, I got to go. I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to get an extra workout in, or I'm going to do this. And, you know, what can I do to outwork the next guy?
Yep.
You know, and that's just, I take that same mentality now. You know, I wake up and I fucking bust my ass in the weight room just to like get that, that little endorphin drop in the morning, you know, and then, you know, do some ice baths and stuff like that, you know. And to me, it's just like that physical grind, doing shit you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And then you feel better afterwards.
Exactly.
Because you did something hard, right?
Yep.
You did something that most people aren't going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it's about, man. And, you know, I love what you got going on now with the Taboo and with the Parker's Platoon, right? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I almost butchered that. But it's just awesome how you can get those two things to work together, man. Like anything I could do to help you support that, I'm down with.
I appreciate it, brother.
And I think we need to get out in the woods together, brother.
Definitely. No, you got to come up to Grand County, and
Yeah,
we got to go
even
for some hikes.
do you fly fish too?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I love fly fishing. So
Yeah.
maybe we could go do a little fly fishing.
Yeah, we'll go throw some droppers on, and yeah, we'll go catch some nice brownies up there.
Yeah, man, rip some lips. It'll be fun.
That'll be a blast. And well, I know too, we have the one thing we didn't talk about today is the Ice Wars International.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's a new production
Lane,
coming up.
pull that shit up because this is badass.
Uh-huh.
Look at this.
Yeah. It's basically, you know, the role I did back in the day, and you know, this is a sanctioned promotion.
This is
that
awesome.
Yeah. But this gives guys that did my role something to do after they're done as well. And you know, we're not you know, pushing the whole violence, but you know, fighting's fighting. And you know, like we were talking too, there's, you know, slapping contests these days and all sorts of stuff.
Oh
and
yeah.
Really, this just
Bare knuckle boxing. Have you seen that
oh
shit?
yeah, the BKG. Yeah, I mean it's Kamosi and all the boys in there that we watch do all that stuff, and you know, it's just cool to have.
Kamosi's good at it, dude.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said, you know why? Because it's just a fucking street fight.
Exactly.
And he's like, I'm just going in there and I'm attacking.
Yeah, well, that's what's cool about this too. You know, they have gorilla mitts, so the 4-ounce gloves on there, and you know, it's just gives the guys an opportunity when they're done to have something to do and something to bounce back onto. You know, depending on if their career gets cut short for any kind of reason, but you know, to having the doctors and having it all sanctioned and you know, just doing it the right way, I think, you know, gives the guys more opportunity.
And there's an event coming up real soon in Cheyenne.
Yeah,
right?
in Cheyenne.
When is that?
It'll be July 15th. Where is it? The Outlaw Saloon.
Outlaw Saloon?
Outlaw Saloon in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So yeah, everybody come out and check it out. We're going to be up there probably a few days prior doing some promotional stuff. It'd be great to see everybody. It'd be great to see all the servicemen and women up there. And yeah, we got the Air Force Base up there too. So we got to get everybody out and have a good time, good night, good event, good weekend. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Even for guys that, this would be great for guys that maybe just like didn't make it, you know?
Exactly.
But they fucking loved being that guy that go out there and kick someone's ass. You
exactly.
know?
That, or we're looking to people like, even if they're MMA fighters or maybe they've never skated ever, you know, give it a try.
It's
you know,
just something new.
It's something new. It's something fun, and it's just, you know, gives people a bigger opportunity to.
How do they score it? So how do you win? Is
like
it just the first one to fall?
Well, fall like it's actual like either connecting, and it kind of goes points based off of that, and basically just you know throwing punches, missing, throwing, connecting, just the aggressive side, you know, possible even takedown, but it's just you can kind of feel and see who's the dominant fighter in that fight. So basically, kind of that's how it's scored as of now. But you know, as it evolves and as it grows, you know, getting the full point system going and everything. But I mean, you kind of know when you're in a hockey fight if you won or lost. So it's not like it's a secret. And you know, when you're looking at some guy and he says bloodied and battered, and the other guy's, you know, not one mark on his face, and it's like, I wonder who won. So yeah, it's just you know, it's a cool thing.
This is pretty cool, man. I'm looking forward to this, and this is it's something new, man. And like you said, like if that slap boxing has taken off like it has, there's no way that and are you guys using the synthetic ice?
We are.
That's smart
as of now, but it's just, you know, easy. We call it the ice box.
Well, it's an easy setup, right? I mean, you
Oh,
can
it
fit all
is.
this in the back of a trailer.
All that, and plus, it's actually come a long way too. And I know a lot of the guys that utilize this stuff too. And it's not like ice is just the easiest thing to make. I mean, unless up where we live, we have it every winter on the ponds.
Yeah.
But you got to have chillers and all the crazy shit. When it comes to that. But I know the guys really enjoy it, and I've been on the ice too, and it's actually really similar to it. So the only thing isn't you don't have the coolness coming off it, basically. So
This looks awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. This is going to be fun.
now we're excited for it, and seeing how it grows.
And how many fights will you guys do in one night?
How many would about 11?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So doing that, and then doing some promotional stuff throughout the week, and just kind of leading up to the fights, and really just getting people involved and learning the fighters, and like I said, just growing day by day.
Hell,
So,
people watch little robots fight, man. Like, they'll watch this shit.
exactly.
They'll
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
People like to see violence. They just like it,
Yeah.
They like to see violence, and this is like controlled violence. They got fucking pads on and gear and a helmet and shit and
Exactly.
gloves.
Yeah. You got lids and you got leather straps. I mean, most of the stuff stays on, 99% of the time now. So, it's just, little by little, Outlaw Saloon, there it is. Good old Cheyenne, Wyoming. So it'd be great to see everybody July 15th or, that weekend. And, we're going to have a lot of fun up there. So come
Yeah.
one, come all.
I'm going to be there.
Awesome,
It's
brother.
going to be badass.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you coming.
Thanks, bro.
We'll wrap
Thanks.
this up, man. This is episode 1 of Wolfe Untamed,
One of many.
and that's a wrap.
Yeah, bud.